Yeah.
Our Father,
Which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done
thy will be done
in earth
in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread.
our daily bread.
Forgive us our debts
Forgive us our
as
debts
we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our
And lead
debtors.
us not
And lead us not
into temptation,
into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from
For
evil.
thine is the kingdom
For thine is the kingdom
and the power
and the power
and the glory
and the glory
forever.
forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen. But man, we was at Cephas. We was at Cephas' house, and we just kind of anybody who viewed in or checking us out, we kind of like, looking at these angels, right? And I'm giving a story or testimony, however you want to look at it, in relation to the topic. But Cephas was having, I think it was tabernacles, and we was feasting we was feasting in between tabernacles, and Cephas had some at his house after the Sabbath. You know what I mean? Like, cause the feast be running and the weekly Sabbath be. So it was he was having something like right after class was over with. We all went back to his crib. I think it was around that time of tabernacle. So, but anyhow, he had like having a good time. So Michael was young. Michael was probably a little older than Judah.
Mm.
He probably was Zion's age. So, don't go out there though. So, man, I told Tony, I was like, hey man, I'm about to hey. Nope. Move. Go sit down. You ain't leaving to go nowhere. Excuse me. She coming back. Should have left with her when she left. But so I went to go fix some food. Told Tony, I was like, hey Tony, man, I'll be right back. I'm finna go get Micah some food. I'm finna fix him a plate. Now Tiana and it was just Micah and Judah. I mean Micah and Deja. Tiana at the house with either she at the house or she at Malia house or wherever she at. But I think she was at the house. So but I go in the house, I left Micah my phone. So he's sitting over there watching my phone. So like go in the house and I was being real quick about it. Cause we outside eating, a little bit of drinking going on. So I was being real quick about it. So I come back out with his food. That joker ain't sitting where he was supposed to be sitting at. Only thing there is my phone. So I'm like, Tony, where Mike at? Like, what the heck? He was like, he was sitting right there. I was like, okay, he ain't there right now. Where he at? So everybody like, calling his name. Mike, where he at? Now, Cephas' house right here. Busy highway, busy road right
It's
there.
right there on there.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Right there. So I'm like, man, what the heck? So like, dude, I was not drunk. I was, solid, but it wasn't no slamming on brakes. It wasn't no none of that, dude. Right? So this tall figure, dude, it was a person. It was a brother. He was tall, bruh, and he had on all white, right? He was so tall, I was reaching up to get Mike, because it's like, man, who kid this is? And I was like, man, that's my son. And he wasn't going off. He was like, man, here you go, man. And I was like, man, thank you, bruh. And like, I get Micah. I'm holding him. Kind of like, I'm blown at this point. Like, I'm finna go home. You know, because that could have been all bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, bro, I'm walking. Now, at this point, now all the cars stop. Right? All the
So
cars
you
don't
out
stop.
on the middle of that road, that big.
I ain't even in the middle of the road. He
Oh.
bought Micah to me off the road
Right. To y'all side.
to our side.
Right.
You know, he in our yard.
Mm.
And he like, man, who kid is this? And I'm like, man, that's my son. So he handed me the baby. And, bro, I grab Micah, walk off, and turn back. Bro, he ain't nowhere in sight. And all the cars going there. And I'm like, what the heck? So I ain't really think too much of it. And I was like, man, y'all seen where the person went? They was like, nah, man. Like, nah, we ain't see where he went. I was like, what? I'm talking about, bro, when I turned back around, look, bro, he was gone. And like I said, when he was bringing me the child, bro, like, it seemed like the cars had stopped.
Mm.
But then I turned back, he gone, and the car's just going.
Mm.
So I'm like, I'll never forget that, bro. Like, I was emotional because, yeah, that could have been all bad, bro. You see how busy that road is?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? If I stay there, I gotta have a tall fence. If I got kids, yeah, I gotta have a fence.
Fence, right.
You know what I mean? Like, my place would be fenced in because it's a, you know,
Wide open.
that's a busy road.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, like the Bible say, man, like, them angels we entertain unaware.
Unaware.
You know what I mean? So, hey, somebody could be on the corner homeless. That's why if I got it, bro, it be convicting in my mind. I'd be like, boy, that might be an angel, boy. You better get him $1 or two if you got it. You know what I mean? Because, you don't know. It might be, at the point where God really seeing where your heart at.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, God really seeing where your heart at. So them angels, man.
Mm.
But man, let's go and read that Joshua though.
Okay.
That Joshua 5 until somebody pop on. Somebody don't pop on by 5 o'clock, man. We could just call it a. I know everybody locked. I know for the most part, a lot of people probably locked into Atlanta. You know what I mean? So.
We ain't.
Yeah, brother Elijah coming to town. We gotta get the congregation like that down here. When he come in town, like, it be people here, but I don't think people be knowing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all G. But yeah, what is that? 13?
And then it's crazy. Let me just say this, bro. He told Joshua the same thing he told Moses. Take out them shoes from my feet. Bro, that was almost like identical. Like with Mo, you know what I'm saying? Right, that's just,
Yeah, he's standing on holy ground. Yeah. What is that, 13?
Yeah, that was down some. Yeah, well, it might have been 15. What he told, 15.
15 where he say loose, okay.
Yeah.
But let's start at 13 though.
Okay, 13. And it came to pass when Joshua was by Jericho that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with his sword drawn in his hand.
Yep.
And Joshua went unto him and said unto him, Art thou for us or for our adversary? And he said, Nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord am I not come.
See, that's why. Hey, it could very well be Michael, dude. They say he's the captain of the host of the Lord. You know what I mean? Host. I think host mean army or something like that. You know what I mean? Cause so this very well could be Michael. Cause he said, but as captain of the host of the Lord. I don't think Gabriel hold that title right there. What that host? I think host mean. Cause I know in other places they like the host like army or something like that.
Yeah, in archaic, it can mean an army.
It could mean an army.
Yup. The Lord of hosts also, uh, captain of, the angels.
Lord of hosts.
Yeah, it was just saying. I was just saying like the heavenly host. Another term for heavenly host would be Lord of hosts. But in the archaic, it just means an army. That's one of the definitions of the word host.
And that could be, you know. Finish that up and let's read something else.
And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and did worship and said unto him, What saith my Lord unto his servant?
Mm-hmm.
And the captain of the Lord's host said unto Joshua, Loose thy shoe from off thy foot, for the place whereon thou standest is holy. And Joshua did so.
Go over to Revelations on. I just want to see. Go to Revelation 19. And okay, it say armies over here. But read Revelation 11 and 11 and I'm sorry, 19:11.
And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself.
Go ahead.
And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth the sharp.
That's it on that. So that could armies, hosts, but go over here to let me see something. Look at Daniel right quick. Cause Jacob very well could be right. Cause I was riding here to class. Just thinking about that. And Daniel 10. And I was thinking about Jacob. Thinking about Jacob and him wrestling with that angel. Hold on, this ain't it. Not 10. So what, Micah? So what? What was that 10?
Said Daniel 10.
I'm just saying, what's that it? Nah. Go to Daniel. So he in 8. But Daniel in the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia. You know where is that?
What is it that you're looking for?
You know, when
Daniel was When the angel
Gabriel.
came
Yeah.
to
I know it's in chapter 8. That's one of them. But I'm looking for Satan. I think that's it. Daniel 10.
Daniel 10 and 13.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Kingdom. Oh yeah, the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood him 21 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 and 13. Yeah, 10.
Yeah, read 10. 10 and 10 and 10 and 9.
Yet heard I the voice of his
Hey,
word.
start at 8. I'm sorry, 8.
Therefore I was left alone and saw this great vision, and there remained no strength in me. For my comeliness was turned in me into corruption, and I retained no strength.
Hey, Tim, give me some water. Thank you. That's what you're here for? Okay. Every day. Okay. Go ahead.
And I retained no strength. Yet heard I the voice of his words, and when I heard the voice of his words, then was I in a deep sleep on
Hold
my
on, where you at?
Verse 9.
Okay, all right.
Yet heard I the voice of his words, and when I heard the voice of his words, then was I in a deep sleep on my face, and my face toward the ground.
Go ahead.
And behold, a hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palms of my hands. And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright. For unto thee am I now sent. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling.
Oh, so he said he stood trembling because he see Daniel. He see Gabriel, and Gabriel don't look too pleasant to the eyes. Go ahead.
Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand, and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words.
But what?
But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days.
See, this is what I came here for. This verse right here, this word right here. Go ahead.
But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me.
I think that might be Michael and that Joshua, because he called him the chief. He called him the captain of the host.
And then it say right here,
Yeah,
Michael's one of the chief princes.
You know what I mean? Chief mean he a top dog. But keep going though.
Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia.
I remained there with the kings of Persia. Go to Revelations 20 right quick. I want to see what this got to say. Revelation 20 and verse 1.
Because there had to be a reason why he put the captain of the host. You
Yeah.
don't just give anybody that.
You don't just give him that title. You know what I mean? Because we see other angels.
Oh,
in here.
yeah, it's because it's an angel.
Yeah. Yeah, we see other
Met
angels.
an angel on the way, but he said the chief captain.
You know what? Go to Numbers real
Captain
quick.
of the host. I mean, he said chief, but the captain of the host.
But go to Numbers. Go to Numbers. Numbers on 22. Okay. Numbers 22 and start at 23.
And the ass saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. And the ass turned aside out of the way and went into the field. And Balaam smote the ass to turn her into the way. But the angel of the Lord stood in the path of the vineyards, a wall being on this side and a wall on that side. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she thrust herself into the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, and he smote her again.
Go ahead.
And the angel of the Lord went further and stood in a narrow place where was no way to either to the right hand or to the left. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she fell down under Balaam. And Balaam's anger was kindled, and he smote the ass with a staff.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord opened the mouth of the ass, and she said unto Balaam, What have I done unto thee, that thou hast smitten me these 3 times?
Go ahead.
And Balaam said unto the ass, Because thou hast mocked me, I would therefore sword in mine hand, for now would I kill thee.
Mm.
And the ass said unto Balaam, Am not I thine ass, upon which thou hast ridden ever since I was thine unto this day? Was I ever wont to do so unto thee? And he said, Nay.
Then what?
Then the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam, and
See, so I think even like when you looking at even good angels, they kind of like not in chains of darkness, but they ain't always revealed like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So even right here, it's like he opened his eyes up. But he opened his eyes up and what?
To be able to see it.
I'm saying read it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Then the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam and saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way,
Yep.
and his sword drawn in his hand,
Mm.
and he bowed down his head and fell flat on his face.
So he said he had a sword in his hand, right? He had a sword in his hand.
So is that the same with do you remember when would that be the same as when in that story where was it Jesus or somebody told him, man, well, no, one of the prophets, he said, I can open his eyes and he can see.
That's where I was just finna go. That's Elijah.
Yeah,
I was just finna go. Cause I wanted to see that. I wanted to go to Kings real
see
quick.
how that's read there.
Yeah, I wanted to see that. I think it's on First Kings. Yeah, he had that army of angels.
Yes.
Yeah, but I want to see what they call them.
What they call it.
Do
Yep.
they call them a host?
Exactly. Yep.
If you call them a host, then I think that's safe to say that's Michael in Joshua chapter 5. Elijah. Ahab told. I think this on. Pulling it up.
Mm-hmm. Second Kings 6.
Yeah. Second Kings 6 and it's in 17, but I want to read on. See, that's what it means. That's what that captain of host gotta mean. Cause look at this.
15.
Read 14.
14.
Yeah, read 14.
Mm-hmm. So
Need a water, bro?
Yep. Okay. 14. Therefore sent he thither.
Oh, you know what? Start at 10.
And the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of God told him and warned him of, and saved himself there not once nor twice. Therefore the heart of the king of Syria was sore troubled for this thing, and he called his servants and said unto them, Will ye not show me which of us is for the king of Israel?
Go ahead.
And one of his servants said, None, my lord, O king, but Elisha the prophet that is in Israel.
And I meant to say Elisha, not Elijah. I had said it's Elisha, but go ahead though.
But Elisha the prophet that is in Israel telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber.
Go ahead.
And he said, Go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, saying, Behold, he is in Dothan.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore sent he thither horses and chariots and a great host.
You see that? A great host. I mean, a great army or a great, because look at what he said. He said, therefore, sent he sent the horses and chariots and a great host. But go ahead.
And they came by night and compassed the city.
Mm-hmm.
And when the servant of the man of God was risen early and gone forth, behold, an host compassed the city, both with horses and chariots.
Mm-hmm. Talking about an army. Go ahead.
And his servant said unto him, At last, my master, how shall we do?
How shall we do it? Like, how we going to do this?
Right.
They deep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them.
Now, somebody will be like, man, what you talking about, boy?
Yeah.
I'll be like, what is me, you?
Right.
Like, what you talking about? Go ahead, though.
And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes, that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha.
Go ahead.
And when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Lord and said, Smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elisha.
Skip down to 22.
And he answered, Thou shalt not smite them. Wouldest thou smite those whom thou hast taken captive with thy sword and with thy bow? Set bread and water before them, that they may eat and drink and go to their master.
That's it. So, I don't know, bro.
That host, what I seen there, what I thought that was an angel. Well, I mean, was an army.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's so what I'm saying is, so now going back to Joshua 5, when he's the captain of the host, that host got to very well be an army of angels. That's what I'm, but
Yes, sir.
cause that's what it just caught my mind is that in that 2 Kings when he said, chariots, a host,
the chariot, the horse.
we talking about an army.
Yep.
So now they looking back and they seeing all this, they seeing this great army. Like, well, how we gonna take them down? Let's see something. And it could very well be. I want to go to Judges right quick, and anything you want to add in, you can do that. But I'm just really trying to just dissect this Joshua 5 is that, and I really think it's very well it's very well Michael, or it could be an ambassador. Go to Judges. Yeah, go to Judges 13. Judges 13 and we just looking at this angel and how he was moving. Was he kind of like the same angel? And I know that this is the same angel that was dealing with Mary. But go ahead and pick it up at verse 1. That's mine. Michael, come throw this in the trash for me. That plate right there.
Where we at, Judges 13 and 3?
And 1.
And 1. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord. And the Lord delivered them into the hand of the Philistines 40 years.
Go ahead.
And there was a certain man of Zorah of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah.
Thank you.
And his wife was barren and bare not.
Go ahead.
And the angel of the Lord appeared unto the woman and said unto her, Behold now, thou art barren and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son.
Go ahead.
Now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing.
Mm-hmm.
For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite unto God from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines.
Go ahead.
Then the woman came and told her husband, saying, a man of God came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of God.
You see that? So look at what it says. It said the man of God, but he looked like the angel of God because of his countenance. But go ahead.
A man of God came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of God, very terrible.
Very terrible, very scary looking. But go ahead.
But I asked him not whence he was, neither told he me his name. But he said unto me, behold, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and now drink no wine nor strong drink, neither eat any unclean thing, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb to the day of his death.
Okay, we got a question. Okay, give us a question. Give us a second, Christian. Go ahead.
Verse 8. Then Manoah entreated the Lord and said, O my Lord, let the man of God which thou didst send come again unto us, and teach us what we shall do unto the child that shall be born.
So he teaching. It looked like the same makeup as what Gabriel did with Mary. You know what I mean? Like Gabriel came to Mary and brought her glad tidings of Jesus. This same angel coming to, Manoah and bringing her glad tidings of Samson. So I'm just comparing. Like, when she saw him, he looked very terrible, scary looking in his hand. You know what I mean? Like it's like he was coming in a sense of peace, but just his presence alone wasn't bringing a peaceful demeanor.
Right.
But it's a difference, though. I see a difference. Because even when you look at between the two, right, in Daniel chapter 10, you see Gabriel came first, but then it said he was held up, so he had to call the chief prince, Michael.
Right.
You know what I mean? To get him out of the jam. So it's like, shoot. Go to Revelation 12 real quick. And then we're going to come to your question, Christian. Revelation 12. And pick it up at Revelation 12. Because even when you look at that Revelation 20, right, in that verse 1, Satan going to be bound for 1,000 years. One angel came down and bound him. Mm-hmm. We know that couldn't have been Gabriel because Gabriel needed help in Daniel chapter 10. So we know that couldn't have been like, no angels out of his company. And the reason why I say out of his company, because look at what Daniel chapter 12 say. Revelation. Look at what Revelations 12 and give me that.
And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels.
So look at what it says, angels, making it plural. You know what I mean? Like it was a whole, this is spiritual warfare, really. But we got Satan and his angels, and we see in the Bible is that Satan took a third of an innumerable. You know what I mean? So we talking about God's angels, Satan's angels. So, Satan could be the chief angel of wickedness. You know what I mean? And he got little minions that roll up under him. Because I don't really think, right, when we be going off on little tantrums, right, where for a split, we'll go from dealing with this to back in the world up under Satan's influence or up under that mindset. I don't see that as Satan himself. Like what's going on in the Vatican, dealing with the Pope.
That's Satan himself.
I think that's Satan himself over there.
Gotcha. You
know what I mean? So what we may be dealing with is them spirits, them minions.
Other spirits.
Yeah, that roll with him. That's why, and I think in Revelation 17, it says unclean birds and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
I just think that, it's levels to the devil.
Yeah. And just to land back off that, where it say the works of the flesh, all of those things may be tied. It could be. This is not what the Bible say. But
Hmm
all of those works of the flesh and all those operating in the flesh could have their own little devilish angels attached to them.
Could be.
You know what I'm saying?
Could be.
It could be evil angels that's working with the ones that want to deal with the rage.
Could be.
You know what I'm saying?
It could be a angel that's dealing with, sexual immorality, or, like,
That's very broad.
yeah, could be.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I do believe that it's levels to the devil.
Yes, sir. Yep.
You know what I mean? So even when we talking about Michael, think it's levels to Michael, meaning like Michael the dude. Like shoot, when Michael come, it's like everything dropping. You know what I mean? Because look at who Gabriel called for, or who the Lord sent, because Gabriel wasn't dealing with a minion. He was dealing with Satan himself.
Right.
So Satan himself got some force too.
Right.
You know what I mean? But now, okay, cool. I'm going to hit you with, hey, just letting you know, boy, like the devil ain't nowhere near God's level.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's going to take one angel to bound the devil. So I just think, just reading verse 7, when it's talking about, Michael and his angels, he got a company of angels that roll up under him. The dragon or the Satan got angels roll up under him, to the point where even Gabriel got angels rolling up under him. Because just think about it. When you get baptized,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Everybody got their own angel.
Don't
Yeah, like, shoot, is Gabriel with you? And you know what I mean?
You at the same time?
Right. Nah, he got little ones that's rolling under him. And, they getting it from Gabriel, giving it unto you or to me or to, it's a total package though.
Right.
You got Gabriel and you got somebody rolling from Michael's crew. You got something you want to add, or you want to go to this question? So I think. All right, but hold on before you ask your question. I think that the brother brought up a point this morning on his chat about Joshua chapter 5, and that's kind of what we was touching on. Yeah, can you put your head covering on? So in Joshua chapter 5, it's talking about an angel, and he asked, was this Michael? And, I was kind of like, oh, it ain't enough there. I don't think. I was like, you could be right, but I don't think it's enough there to just say. But on my drive to class, I'm thinking about it. And what I thought about that make it very well possible that it could be Michael is when I thought about Jacob and the angel that he was wrestling with. Right? That angel didn't have no sword in his hand. Like when Jacob was approached by the angel, and he had no sword in his hand. Jacob literally wrestling with the angel. Meaning it seemed like the angel ain't really about, that ain't one of his skill sets. As to tussling or, handling somebody up. Not saying that a man can outdo him, because shoot, he just touched the hollow point of Jacob's thigh and just knocked it out of whack.
Yeah.
But look at what he had to do to get Jacob up off of him. You know what I mean? So it just seemed like he ain't really that skill set in that fighting department. So when I thought about that, I'm like, oh man, you know what? That could be Michael in that Joshua chapter 5. So that's kind of what we was touching on. Anybody that's tuned in, we was just kind of running around the Bible, just looking at different people being approached by this angel, and we saw in Numbers, we saw that Balaam was approached by an angel or a donkey, and he had a sword out. You know what I mean? Like he had that sword in his hand. So, Jacob, that could very well be the case, man. And that Joshua chapter 5 is that could be somebody that worked in the department affiliated with Michael the angel. All right, so what you got? If what? Mm. Go to Matthew 24. It's best not to go back because you might get caught. 24. Matthew 24. You might get caught. So that's why Jesus is going to say this. Matthew 24 and pick it up at verse 15. Are you listening? All right, go ahead.
When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand.
So whoso read, let him understand. Go ahead.
Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains.
You see that? So we talking about a person that's going to tell us it's time to go. Right? You listening? So the Lord is saying when you see this individual, give him the phone, Micah. When you see this person stand in Jerusalem, you got to run. All right? And it's going to be headlines. It ain't going to be like tomorrow you find out that the man is in Jerusalem, now we got to run. Nah, you're going to know. All right? So it's not going to be some surprising sneak message or sneak attack. Nah, everybody's going to know this. All right? But this is a sign that's going to tell you we got to start getting ready to run. So Jesus said, when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso read, let him understand. 16.
Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains.
So they running. If you in Judea, you need to run to the mountains. 17.
Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house.
You see that? It's telling you, hey, don't go in your house and take anything out. Look at what it said, 18. Go ahead.
Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes.
So don't even go back and get your clothes. So if it's telling you not to go back and get your clothes, you ain't going back to get your family either. Because your family already know this. So they shouldn't be back where you got to go get them. You know what I mean? Now, it might be situations or it might be dilemmas where, hey, that could very well happen. But Jesus is telling you, you're going to have this much of time to do what you need to do. So when you go back, time gets smaller. If you go back again, time gets smaller. If you go back again, can you see that? You can see in between that hand? No, you can't because it ain't nothing there anymore. You ain't got no more time. It's over. So now, if you get caught, you can get killed. That's what can happen. So Jesus is telling you, hey, don't go back in the field. He telling you not to go in the housetops. Nah, whatever you ain't got, You'll get it another time. You'll probably get it somewhere else. But he's saying, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. 19.
And woe unto them that are with child.
Yep.
And to them that give suck in those days.
So look at how tough it's going to be, right? Just imagine somebody trying to run for their life and they got a baby in their stomach. Or a small little baby that they breastfeeding. Or somebody the size of Judah. That's going to be woe because just imagine, right? You trying to hide. He might blabber out.
Right.
Or the baby might start crying. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be tough. Because you got to keep these, you got to be discreet as possible if you get caught. You know what I mean? If you get caught, you got to be discreet. You got to move in silence. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Hey,
No, you good.
That almost kind of reminded me, we just watched the movie A Quiet Place.
Yeah. Yeah, with them aliens.
Bro.
Yeah.
That movie, bro. They think they're slick with that one, bro.
Yeah.
They think they're very slick because the way she was, like, moving for her life. They literally and had to keep quiet. And you seen how the dude was, like, trying to sign like, yeah. And how when they wanted to keep the dude from talking, like, that the black dude was, like, about to kill the man for
talking.
For talking.
Yeah.
Making noise. Like,
yeah.
Talking, just making noise. So, that gives up what you were saying about the baby.
Yeah. Like, you got to be
quiet. He crying.
Right. You got to be quiet. So they had the baby in a little box and they had an oxygen tank in there on the movie.
Oh, wow.
You ain't see that part?
I probably seen. That was the first one.
No, y'all seen 2?
3.
3. Okay, yeah, 2.
Yeah.
They had the baby in a box and they had an oxygen tank in there just to, keep him able to breathe, but they had him closed in there just in case if he did cry, it's all soundproof. They ain't going to hear him.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, you got to, so no, you cannot go back and get nothing. It's going to be very, 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 very tough times. You know what I mean? So, you ain't going to have time to go back, Zoe. Everything that you got, okay, everything that you got, Zuri, you already got it. If you ain't got it, you ain't going to get it. But that's it on that. So, it says, how many ways are there to get to heaven when I die? Okay. How many ways are there when you get to heaven when you die? Well, please feel free to chime in. But how many ways are there to get to heaven when I die? Well, go to Matthew real quick. Y'all doing too much now. Go to John 10 real quick.
Right. I think that's what a lot came to my mind when I thought
John 10. And go ahead and pick it up at verse 1.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is as a thief and a robber. But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep.
You see that? So, hey, if you come up, if you climb up some other way, Jesus, hey, y'all keep it down. If you climb up some other way, or that enter not by the door into the sheepfold, and climb up another way, you consider a thief and a robber. But you have to enter in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. What is it in verse 3, bro?
To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice.
You see that? The sheep hear his voice. Go ahead.
And he calleth his own sheep by name and leadeth them out.
Go ahead.
And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice.
They know his voice. 5.
And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him.
In other words, you got to come through Jesus.
Right.
That's really what you got to do. You got to come through Jesus, because look at what he's saying. And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers.
Right.
Right? So, you know, you got to come. You got to come through Jesus. Keep reading, though. What else it say?
Verse
6. Yep.
This parable spake Jesus unto them, but they understood not what things they were which he spake unto them.
Verse 7.
Then said Jesus unto them again, Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep.
You see that? So Jesus is making it clear for you now. Hey, I'm the door of the sheep. Go ahead.
All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers.
Yep.
But the sheep did not hear them.
So the sheep ain't hear none of them. Keep reading.
I am the door.
Yep.
By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved. And he shall go in and out and find pasture.
You see that? So Jesus saying that, hey, you got to come through his door.
Right.
Get out that trash can. You gotta come through Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way we gotta all come. Because if you go a different route, Jesus considered you a robber and a thief. That's what he considered you, a robber and a thief.
Right.
Look at this John chapter 11 real quick. John chapter 11. And now, give me verse 25.
Right.
Because this is when Lazarus, right? Lazarus has passed away, and Jesus now finna resurrect Lazarus, right? So now, man, this verse right here is so powerful to me, it brings tears to my eyes when I read the whole chapter. Is because of what Jesus said flies over a lot of people's head, but it's so fitting for your question. Because your question is, hey, what ways do I take, or how many ways can I take to get to heaven when I die, right? Like Jesus said, there's only one way. That's it. Only one way, and the one way is coming through his door. Now look at what he got to say in pertaining to, life after death. So let's pick it up at 20, because we're going to read some of this, because I understand your question, but I'm wondering if you're thinking something else inside of your question. So we're going to try to cover that as well, whatever you may be thinking. So read 11 and 11. We're going to jump around.
These things said he, and after that he said unto them, Our friend Lazarus sleepeth, but I go that I may awake him out of sleep.
You see that? So, at this point, Lazarus is asleep. So Jesus like, I'm going to go and wake him out of his sleep, right? Keep reading, though.
Verse 12, Then said his disciples, Lord, if he sleep, he shall do well.
So they like, man, if he sleep, he going to be all right. Hey, look at here. Hey, I'm finna get y'all when we get from here. Tiana, can you like, please, babe? Good choice. Very, very good choice. We'll see. So we see is that Lazarus is asleep, right? And the disciples is like, well, man, if he's asleep, why wake him? He doing well. What Jesus said in verse 13.
Howbeit Jesus spake of his death.
Because that's what he's talking about, right? He's talking about death. Death is sleep in the Bible, right?
Right.
They one and the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
In most cases, not in all cases, because some people really do sleep in the Bible, like go to sleep, take a nap, wake up.
Right.
But in this case right here, sleep is compared to death. So that's why, hey, Jesus said in verse 11, hey, our friend Lazarus is asleep. I'm going to go and awake him. In other words, I'm going to awake him out of death. Because he said in 13, howbeit Jesus spake of his death. But what?
But they thought that he had spoken of taking of rest and sleep.
You see that? So they thinking he taking a rest.
Right.
What Jesus said in 14?
Is that meaning like taking a nap?
Taking a nap.
They thinking
Yep.
physical.
They thinking like he literally sleeping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Howbeit Jesus spake of his death, but they thought that he had spoken of taking a rest and sleep.
Go ahead.
Then said Jesus unto them plainly,
Yep.
Lazarus is dead.
Lazarus dead. All right. Y'all thinking, I'm talking about. No, he's dead.
Okay.
Right? Is dead. Right? Skip down now to 21 and read that for me.
Then said Martha unto Jesus, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died.
You see that? So if you'd have been here, my brother wouldn't have died. Go ahead.
But I know that even now, whatsoever thou wilt ask of God, God will give it thee.
Now look at what he's saying, 23. Go ahead.
Jesus said unto her, thy brother shall rise again.
Now look at what Martha said. Go ahead.
Martha said unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day.
So he said, I know he going to rise again. Hey, man, you see what I'm doing? Just go and come right back. Because you ain't all the way trustworthy. So just go there and come right back. And if you take more than 3 minutes, then we're going to have problems because we know you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing. That's just that simple. You do it at school, right? All right, so go ahead. Go ahead. Read 24 one more time, bro.
Martha said unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day.
So look at what Martha said, at the last day. Right? Because when you die, you ain't going to heaven. Nah, because when you die, it ain't the last day. You die tomorrow, you die next week, that ain't the last day. That might be the last day for you existing in this world, but it's not the last day when the Lord is going to resurrect all of the dead that die right in Christ. So even Martha, she had knowledge of this. Hey, you know what? I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Now look at this verse 25, right? Because verse 25 goes back to chapter 10. Is that Jesus said the only way you can come up, you can't come a different route. You got to come through him because he's the door or he's the shepherd that you got to go through. All the sheep know his voice, but they don't know the voice of strangers. They know his voice, right? So even look at what he says in this verse 25. Go ahead and read that for me, bro.
Jesus said unto her,
Yep.
I am the resurrection and the life.
You see that? Hey, Jesus is the resurrection and the life. This is the way to heaven, brother. But not to, heaven out of space. No. And not to heaven when you die. No. It is at the last day. The seventh trumpet. That is when you are resurrected. But, hey, Jesus is the only way. Now he's letting you know, hey, I am the resurrection and life. He that what?
He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live.
You see that? He's going to live. 26.
And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this?
You believe this? You know? So we see that, hey,
CJ.
one way is through Jesus. This is the only way. Hey, the only way is through Jesus. Right? Now we see is that Jesus is the resurrection. He's the resurrection. Go to this Luke real quick.
Bring a chill. Right here. Come here. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. I'm being nice. I'm being
Matthew
nice.
27.
I'm being nice. Don't say nothing.
Go to Matthew 27. Matthew 27. Might be Luke. No, it's Matthew 27. Matthew 27. Check this out. Matthew 27.
Yep.
And and let's pick it up at 50. Yeah, Matthew 27 and 50. Now check this out, right? Because you know we talking about when you die and go off to heaven. Like, nah, we ain't gonna do that, right? You gonna die, right? But you may be alive at the coming of the Lord. So everybody isn't gonna die, right? But when you do die, you don't go off to heaven. But we do know is that the only way to heaven is through Jesus. Jesus is the resurrection. So if you're going through Jesus, you're going to be resurrected. But when? At the last day. When is the last day? At the seventh trumpet. But where are these bodies at, though? Where are these bodies at? Matthew 27. And let's read 20. And we're going to read a little more after that. Go ahead, bro.
27 and 20.
Yep, 27 and 20.
But the chief priests and elders persuaded the multitude that they should ask Barabbas.
Hold on, my bad. 27 and 50.
Okay.
My bad. I ain't mean to say, 27 and 50. Go ahead, bro.
Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost.
So Jesus died. He on the cross. He died, right? 51.
And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom.
Yep.
And the earth did quake, and the rocks rent.
So this is kind of like what the resurrection is going to look like, right? This is what the first resurrection or the resurrection of the dead is going to look like. We're seeing a small glimpse of it right now. So we see is that, hey, Jesus gave up the ghost, which is he died. When that happened, the veil of the temple ripped in twain. And then it says, the earth did quake and the rocks did rent. But we came here for 52. What that read, bro?
And the graves were open.
Hold on. The graves were open. What's in the grave?
And many bodies of the saints which slept
So look at what it said. They was in the grave. Right? They didn't, when the saints died, they didn't go off to heaven. No, they are in the grave. So the Bible is saying, hey, it says, and the graves were open, and it's some back there. And many, it says, and many bodies of the saints. Well, who are the saints? Those that keep the righteousness of Christ. So, some of us would think that, why is it nothing back on the table? No, what happened to all those tissues? Here goes some right here. So we know is that the saints, you know, they making it into the kingdom. But right here, some of the saints are in the grave. They didn't make it to the kingdom. They're in the grave. So it says the graves were open, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose. Look at what 53 say. Go ahead, bro.
And came out of the graves after his resurrection.
So look at where they came from. They came out of the graves after Jesus' resurrection. Go ahead.
And went unto the holy city.
Yep.
And appeared unto many.
So he says that, you know, it's like we know only one way. Jesus, because he's the resurrection of the dead. When you die, you just go to the grave.
Right.
Go to Daniel chapter 12 real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You just go to the grave. You know what I mean? That's where you go at. You go to the grave. You don't go off to heaven. You know. You don't go off to heaven. Daniel chapter 12, and then we'll go to one more spot after this. Daniel 12, and give me verse 1. Go ahead.
And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people.
Yeah.
And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time.
Go ahead.
And at that time thy people shall be delivered,
Yeah.
everyone that shall be found written in the book.
We're talking about judgment, right? We're talking about judgment, right? Everyone that was found written in the book, what is it in verse 2?
And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth
You see
shall
that?
awake.
Look at where they sleeping at, Christian. They sleeping in the dust of the earth. So he's saying what? Some shall wake, some to what?
Some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt.
So we see is that they're going to wake to everlasting life and everlasting contempt. But they all sleep in the dust of the earth. Go to John chapter 3 real quick. John chapter 3, this will be the last spot. And then, you know, if you got anything you want to add. John chapter 3. Hey, man, go sit down. Go. Go. John chapter 3. And we'll just go and read right into it. John chapter 3. And read one verse 13.
And no man hath ascended up to heaven.
Oh, so Jesus said no man has ascended up to heaven. But who?
But he that came down from heaven.
So we see Jesus, the one that came down from heaven. He's the only one that has ascended up. And Jesus is the one that's saying this. So he said, no man have ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even what?
Even the Son of Man which is in heaven.
So, you know, Christian, like, hey, when you die, or how many ways are there to get to heaven? Only one way. That one way is through Jesus, who is the resurrection and the life. You know, so when you die, you just go back to the grave.
Right. Yeah.
You're going to sleep there until the seventh trumpet.
Right.
Then you're going to be resurrected. Whether it be the first or the second, you're going to be resurrected. But when you die, you don't go to heaven. When you die, you don't go off to heaven, because when you die ain't the last day. Nah, Jesus said, or Martha said to Jesus, I know in the last days pertaining to the resurrection. So, you know, Christian, that's kind of all I got on that. You got anything you want to add? Okay, so.
You killed both of the birds. I knew you was going to.
Yeah.
Just to make, if he was thinking about
Right.
going off to him.
Right. So that's it. Anybody got any questions? You too young. I'm being for real. You too young. So she too young. Got a question? I mean, you raise your hand, then when I looked at you, you want to be like, no. That's cool. We just sit up here till about 5:35. I ain't got no will. Oh, okay. All them boys came down.
Yeah.
They must have drove down.
Yeah, they had to.
Zoe, leave him alone.
Right there.
How many people watching the lives now?
How many people?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I got the questions coming in.
Cause I know we usually have a little smaller audience. But nah, nobody really be asking. 40, dang. There's a lot of viewers watching now. There's a lot of questions on there too. Well, we get to ask him. He here.
Brother Jacob.
Oh, you know him?
No, Brother Jacob.
That ain't Gentile Jacob.
I
was about to ask, do you know him? It said, Brother Elijah, please consider Tampa Bay area next time. Yeah. What key Israel talking about? Yeah. What? Okay, so I'm not finna do nothing. I'm sitting up here. Yeah, what I'm finna do? Put him right here on the table and just start. I ain't finna do that. Nah, that's another. Nah, that's another brother.
Cause you act like you don't know how to listen. You know how to listen. Can you go back over there and do what you're supposed to do? Can you go back over there?
Go back there with that.
Can you go back over there and do what you're
What?
supposed to do? Alright, go. Leave this right here. Cause if you ain't tighten up, you gonna come right back.
Mikey, you already asked that before.
What he asked?
Why did God make the Bible? You don't know why God made the Bible?
What you think wrong with it, Michael? Let me ask you that. What you think wrong with it? What's wrong with it?
Why you think he needed to make the Bible?
CJ.
Say it again. Right. So he can also get the gospel. You know, yeah, so they can also go to Revelation chapter go to Matthew 24. Read Matthew 24 again. Check this out. You listening? Matthew 24. And read Read 14. Matthew 24 and 14.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come.
So the gospel, we talking about this Bible, right? It got to be preached. It got to be taught. Because the only way, right, the only way people are going to know right from wrong before God, they need this gospel to be preached to them. Like, how can the Lord say you going to the lake of fire if you didn't know thou shalt not steal was a commandment that you breaking? You know what I mean? So it's like this Bible was published so that mankind can understand. Go. Close it all the way. That mankind can understand where he could be going wrong before God. There's rules, right? It's like your daddy got rules in the house, right? Just like even the world got rules, right? They got stop signs and stoplights out there because those are rules. If they removed all the stoplights and all the stop signs, it'd be a lot of car wrecks, right? So just think about it. They took some of the rules from God and put it in the world. Thou shalt not kill. You know, that's a rule that God already laid out. Because now if killing just keeps going on and going on and going on and going on, who's going to be left alive? Nobody. But to also point out that killing is evil, depending on whether it's defense or if it's cold-blooded murder. It's evil. You know what I mean? So God laid out the Bible so that people can have some type of instructions to teach themselves of him. So we see is that, hey, it says, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. Look at this over in Revelation 16 or 19. Revelation 19. Or it might be 16. No, it's 14. Yeah, Revelations 14. And look at verse 6. Look at what this say. Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry when you get there.
And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth.
So look at what look at the angel. It says the angel flying in the midst of heaven, and look at what he got. He got this. He got the gospel. It's called the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth. Go ahead.
And to every nation, and kindred, and tongue, and people.
Saying what?
Saying with a loud voice, fear God and give glory to him.
You see that? Because how would you know how to fear God if you didn't have this? Like before I found this, I wasn't fearing God because I didn't know this. But now that I know this, I fear God and I'm giving him glory. Right? So this is why the Bible was published, to remind people of who's really in charge. And if you want to be in favor, or if you want to be in in good shape with him, you need to get on page and do what he asks you to do. Yep. So that's a good question. But that's your answer. You good? Okay. You ain't finna go out there. If you ain't leave with them, I don't need you out there roaming in the hallway. Some more cookies in that bag. But shoot, you ain't got nothing. Everybody get on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go. If it ain't nothing else, because it ain't nothing else. Shoot, at least the internet stood up.
more before we close.
Mm-hmm.
What? Okay. What? Why doesn't the Bible? Okay. Do does the Bible talk a lot about like physical activity? I know it talks about like it's that one scripture say bodily
By that's
exercise
profit little.
profiteth little.
Mm.
Um,
I think that's Timothy.
Timothy, yeah.
Mm.
But does I mean why it talks a lot about gluttony. You know what I'm saying? Like gluttony, slothfulness. But I just don't. You know.
I mean, slothfulness is really talking about the word though, and like how you dealing with business. It
Right.
It ain't even really talking about your image, like your physical image.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? When you're talking about slothful and sluggers,
Mm-hmm.
it don't really talk a lot about gluttony either. Not really.
Not
I mean,
much.
no, cause they and even, but keep going though, cause
I was just gonna ask: Does physical have anything to do with the spiritual,
okay.
or or really don't?
I mean, but you kind of want to keep yourself up though, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, like you don't want to just, not be taking care of yourself,
Right.
like, because that ain't wise. You know what I mean? Like, that's not wise. Like, if you got high blood pressure, like, then why are you still making the situation worse?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
You got diabetes, like, why are you making it worse?
Gotcha.
That means you ain't really caring about, yourself.
Right.
And that, like, just even with finances, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's nothing wrong with you trying to put yourself in a better financial situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, God ain't against that. Just
Right.
don't put that before him.
Right. And it's kind of like what you read, I guess, today. That's what kind of got my attention about that is count the cost.
Right.
Before you do something, you want to count the cost.
Right.
I was just thinking like, just with expense. That's what was popping in my mind. Expenses, like, really, it's about like sometimes you might have to downsize, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
and that's a part of being humble, because that's being a fool. If you're not, if you probably should, but you're just not because you're trying to keep up an image or
Right.
you're trying to keep up a certain status quo.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That ain't being wise.
No, that's not.
So just looking at the wise counselor, how he was humble, even humbled himself unto death, then, I was just looking at it from that angle. But that's just something I would think about this week was, does that physical working out go hand in hand with the spiritual? But I guess it can, to a sense of when you're looking at being wise and,
Yeah. And then you got like a clear conscience. You know what I mean? It's like when you working out, bro, it's because just imagine you being a person who always used to work out to just not working out at all